Hi guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. If you are looking to eat yourself healthy one meal at a time, then you have come to the right channel. And tonight we are going to be making another delicious mug cake. And it is going to be keto chai latte mug cake. So come along with me and let's get started.
That's really good. Might be one of the best mug cakes you ever made.
So CJ and I have refound our love for Bengal spice tea. It's made by Celestial Seasonings. If you've never had it before, it is an interpretation of chai or chai tea. And chai is usually a blend of Eastern spices mixed with black tea. But I thought it would make a really delicious mug cake, and so that is what I am creating tonight. It's very simple, and of course it only takes a minute in your microwave. And I'm going to be topping it with a very delicious fresh ginger frosting. So come along with me and let's get started. So the first thing that we need for our mug cake is a mug. You could also use ramekins, which is what I have used in the past for other mug cakes. But tonight I'm going to be using a mug. So you need to make sure that your mug is microwave safe. The very first ingredient that we need is 1 tablespoon of butter. So I'm going to put my tablespoon of butter into my mug and I am going to melt it in my microwave. Okay, I have just barely melted my tablespoon of butter. And to my tablespoon of melted butter, I'm going to add my sweetener. In this mug cake, I am going to be using brown natural sweetener. A lot of companies make them. You can go ahead and choose whichever one you prefer. And you're going to use 2 tablespoons of brown natural sweetener. And I'm just going to mix those 2 ingredients together well so that our brown natural sweetener will dissolve into the butter. Now I have found that this is a good time to add my seasonings and my vanilla extract, so those will be next. So I am going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Next, I'm going to be putting in my seasonings. This is a chai mug cake, so it is very heavily seasoned. And that is what I like about it. That is what I like about the Bengal spice tea, and that is what I like about this mug cake. The first one I'm going to be putting in is pumpkin pie spice. Pumpkin pie spice is generally a mixture of different spices. In the case of mine, it is cinnamon, ginger, lemon peel, nutmeg, and cloves. And so I'm going to be putting in about 1/4 teaspoon of this particular blend. Now the next seasoning that I am going to be adding is ground cardamom. And I'm going to be adding about 1/8 teaspoon of this. Cardamom is very, very essential to chai. I was able to find this on my grocery store shelves. You should not have any difficulty finding it. But I have also linked some in Amazon because I do find that their price was a little bit better than my grocery store. So once again, I want 1/8 teaspoon of ground cardamom. Now the last one that I'm going to be adding is just a little bit of star anise. So star anise is also a very strong Eastern flavor, and it adds a great depth to our mug cake. But you only need a small amount, and that is why I'm only adding 1/8 teaspoon. Now the last seasoning that I'm going to be adding a bit of is some salt, and I'm going to be adding just a pinch of this. But I find that adding some salt into my sweet dishes really makes a difference in the flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and stir these seasonings into my melted butter and sweetener very thoroughly. The reason that I like doing this at this particular step instead of with the dry ingredients is that I find it has a chance to fully dissolve in the liquids, which is what we are looking for. We don't want to bite down into a patch of spice when we eat our mug cake. So the next thing I'm going to do is start adding our dry ingredients. The first dry ingredient that I'm going to add is 3 tablespoons of almond flour. Next, we are going to add a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And this is going to give our mug cake some leavening. So I'm going to stir this very well. Make sure that our leavening gets combined into our almond flour and that nothing gets left on the bottom or sides of our mug. That's very important. So take your time and stir your ingredients well. So the last thing that we are going to be adding is an egg yolk. I prefer adding yolk only into my mug cakes because I find that it helps with the texture. It creates a less rubbery or spongy mug cake. Now, mug cakes are a little bit different than a conventional cake baked in the oven because the texture is slightly different due to the baking, but I do find that adding yolk only does help with that texture. So I just separated my egg over the sink, and you can just crack the shell and go shell to shell until all the white has fallen down and you're left with the yolk. Once again, we are going to want to stir this very thoroughly to make sure all of our ingredients are well combined. Be sure to get the sides and the bottom of your mug. Okay, we are well combined. Now I'm going to put this in my microwave. I have an 1100 watt microwave. It's quite strong. So my mug cake will only take 60 seconds. So depending on the wattage of your microwave, I would start out at 45 seconds and advance to 1 minute and 15 seconds, or however long you need it to be. You're looking for your mug cake to just be barely set. It can still be a bit sticky on the top to the touch, but you don't want a lot of jiggling going on. So I'm going to do mine for 60 seconds because I know that's how much it takes in my microwave. So there is my mug cake at 60 seconds, and it's just perfect. And I'm going to set it aside while I make our frosting. Now you could of course just top this with a little bit of whipped cream if you wanted to, but I wanted to make something in keeping with this spicy Eastern theme. So I'm going to be making a fresh ginger frosting for our mug cake. So I want to start with about 2 ounces of very soft cream cheese. And even though I have let my cream cheese sit out to get soft, I still would like it just a bit softer. So I'm going to just microwave mine for about 10 to 15 seconds. To my softened cream cheese, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of powdered confectioner's sweetener. So this is natural sweetener in the powdered form. I'm also going to add just a bit of vanilla extract. And the last ingredient for our frosting is going to be just a bit of ginger. This is fresh ginger. If you don't have access to fresh ginger, you could use powdered ginger, but I really like the taste and texture that the fresh provides. And I'm just going to be putting in a tiny amount, about 1/4 teaspoon or so. And I'm just going to stir that all together, and that will be our frosting. Okay, I am going to frost our little mug cake here, and then we will be back for the presentation and the taste test. Okay, here is our keto chai latte mug cake. And we're going to have a taste test by the fabulous CJ. Here it is.
Yep, here it is. I don't know how people talk when they smile. All right, so what is this?
It is a keto chai latte mug cake.
So that's what we're calling it.
Yeah, it's got all your favorite flavors in it,
All right.
like Bengal spice tea.
That was really delicious. Well, it's got a nice caramelized something in it, or around it, or crust or something. That's really good. Might be one of the best milk cakes you ever made.
Wow.
So, yeah. This one is still warm. So, yeah, good spice flavor. Really bold. So if you like chai tea, spice tea, this will hit the spot for you. Really refreshing and delicious, baby. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.